Hey, hey, hey. How are we doing? I decided to jump on and leave some good energy on the feed for whenever my goddesses get it. I know I usually don't go live at night, but I was thinking, since this is my channel and a reflection of me, a lot of times I'm buzzing at night. So I thought, maybe I will pop on and start doing a little more talking in the late hours, especially also because some of my goddesses that follow this channel, I learned um, that I really need to be thinking larger. And maybe this is a good reminder for you, but I forget that with the power of the internet and social media, that people can be watching me from anywhere at any time. So I do have to keep that in mind because I notice when I get a lot of new clients with the scheduling, I have been the worst as far as knowing the difference in the time zones and even like being cognizant of the time zones. So if you are a new follower and you get this whenever you see this video and you want to subscribe, if you ever want to connect, let me know where you're from, where you're seeing the video from, so that I can you know, be aware of where people are resonating with me and my message. I know I got a lot of goddesses over in Africa and the motherland. I have quite a bit of my first um, group of like true followers were in Africa. I was shocked um, and just amazed at the sisterhood that I had, that I developed early on in all parts of Africa. So, but then again, I have clients in Europe, of course, Brazil. So again, Canada a lot. Lately, I have a lot of Canadian clients. But again, anything I say, if this doesn't apply as far as a time or space perspective with where you are, forgive me in advance because sometimes I'm not thinking. But it's nighttime here. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. It's 10:15-ish p.m. September 17th, and I wanted to come on with some tea for a little tea talk on Thursday. I want to make a better habit of doing things that I love and sharing it with my audience here. Some of the things I love is having tea in the later hours. Oftentimes, I mention how it's great to get up early and do your manifest work in the morning. A lot of us are taught that, and it's important. And I do believe that I'm actually a very active um, person in the wee hours of the morning. I'm up doing meditation, doing prayer, doing affirmations. Maybe at like the 4 a.m. mark. That's usually time when I'm putting in that work. But I was thinking, and it goes in line with the message for today, that as we move into the new season, as we move into fall, we're shifting from the warmer, lively, bubbly summer months into the fall season now. It's going to be officially fall in about 5 days here in the United States. I'm on the East Coast, so fall will hit, I think it's the 22nd of September. It's the 17th, right? But I was just thinking, I'm really in alignment with how some of fall's energy is anyway. And maybe that's because fall is one of my favorite seasons. As you can see, I have these lovely pumpkin orange walls behind me. That may be a good indicator. I've got this nice mustard yellow shirt. I don't know. Maybe that's a sign I'm already kind of colored like fall. But in the evening, in the I would say nighttime. It's not late night. It's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. So like I would say this is kind of an analogy to the fall energy right now. With that, I'm kind of lively, I'm bubbly, I'm energetic, and I got some intuitive messages that I want to share to my audience, to my goddesses, to my family here on the YouTube about making sure you're in alignment so that you can manifest fibroid elimination. you can achieve fibroid freedom, because we always want to be cognizant with whatever's going on, whatever time it is, even though time is an illusion, it's not really real, that we are doing what we can be doing to the best of our ability to give our body what it needs so that we can shrink fibroids and have whatever else it is that we desire. But everything that we have, we know, starts from the inside. And a main part of the inside for goddesses is the womb. So this is a quick little tip, live tea talk. I got my tea here where I'm going to talk to you about some things that I want you to kind of consider. I'm suggesting you consider, and then tweak it and make it your own as we move into, or I move into, I don't know where you're at, if you're in the States, as you move into the fall season. And before I do that, I've got my tea here, since this video is titled Tea Talk. I'm sipping on one of my actually one of my personal handmade tea bags. This is what you get if you order tea out of my Etsy shop. I know that looks crazy, but you see how much tea is in that bag? This bag can be reused at least 2 times. Definitely 2 to 3 times you can steep these herbs and get fibroid elimination properties out of this tea. Now, some of the herbs that I have in my tea bag here, this happens to be the Fibroid Cleanse Tea Sachet product. You can get this on my Etsy shop. I will put the link in the bio. If you don't want to wait, you can head over to my Instagram and just click the link in my Instagram at OP Fibroid Freedom, OPFIBROID Freedom, FREEDOM. On Instagram, click the link and click shop and go to my Etsy shop, and you can get fibroid healing tea. This is the Fibroid Cleanse. It has like a lighter blend for liver detox as well as to support womb cleansing. So you got things like Vitex chaseberry in this tea bag. You also have nettles, which is a very important antioxidant rich, powerful fertility herb. And then you also have things like raspberry leaf, which we all know is a great womb supporting, tonifying herb to help boost fertility and support healthy pregnancy, which is going to stop feeding fibroids, because that's the opposite of fertility, right? But also in my cup, I have a little tea bag of holy basil, because that's one of my favorite relaxation, just zen, totally peaceful, calming. Like if you really want to get some really good rest, for me, it's holy basil. So I like to mix them together. So I'm gonna take a sip. And yes, I got the little spoon in my cup, looking kind of ghetto because my tea was a little hot, to be honest. So I was like, I may need the spoon. But your message is kind of 3 parts, I think. We're gonna see how this works out. Now, if you don't know me, if it's the first time you've seen me, and if you have any questions at any time, feel free to drop a question in the box. The chat, rather. I'm still learning the lingo. The box. My name is Cecily Simmons. Thank you for stopping by the channel. If you're on the channel first time, you are now family. I would love to give you a hug and welcome you into my home. So allow me to do that now. And again, feel free to ask any questions. This is a very relaxed environment. But to make a long story short, I successfully eliminated uterine fibroids on my own. I was told I was going to have surgery. And it took me about 2 years, but I did successfully figure out what I needed to do for my body. And I now coach women on how to identify what needs to be done for their bodies so that they can manifest a fibroid-free womb as well. Some of the things are the same for women, but then there's some things that are very different because it involves deep work, as well as herbs, which we just talked about. But there's also a deep amount of work that we have to do when we talk about manifesting natural fibroid elimination, inner work. So I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about some of the inner work that is necessary. And if I have to get up, because I always forget to charge my phone before I do these things, and go grab my charger, please forgive me because I may have to do that. Anyway, fall equinox, new moon. Okay, so these are our 2 talking points that I want to go over. First, let's start with the actual moon energy that we're in. It's the new moon. It's actually a new moon in Virgo. Um, and we all know, I'm sure you've heard, that there are activities that we can do to cultivate um, the energy of the new moon into um, an outcome that we desire to see in our lives, right? You can harness the power of the energy of the moon, whether it's full, whether it's waxing, gibbous, waning, whatever. You can harness that power by doing certain ceremonies or activities or rituals, if that's what you want to call them, whatever makes sense or resonates with you the most. You can do certain celebratory or ceremonial activities and actions during the moon phase that can enhance whatever it is that you would like to see come out and manifest into your outside world. So that's what I want to talk to you about from the perspective of women who are shrinking fibroids, women who want to naturally eliminate uterine fibroids. So today we happen to be in the midst of the beginning of the new moon in Virgo. So during the new moon, some of the activities that are best practices for goddesses who are able to see success with the energy of the new moon and making it do what it do would be things like making a list and identifying things that you would like to see in your life. The new moon is a time for beginnings. It's a time for you to start things. This is a great time to um, be thinking about things that you would like to spring forth into your life, right? Whereas if it were a full moon, you would hear me saying things like, what do you want to let go of? Excuse me, because the full moon, excuse me, is the time of detachment and letting go of things that are not serving us, that are draining us, that are, it's kind of trimming the fat. The full moon is the time to trim the fat. It's the time where you say, all right, I'm back at this full moon. This is the time I'm in. What have I been experiencing, or what area in my life can I trim some of the fat? Do I need to prune, if you will, my tree? You know, during the new moon, we say, what seeds do we want to plant? What types of trees do we want to bring forth? What types of flowers do we want to see bloom, right? So think about the energy along those lines. So as far as it relates to your womb health and your life mastery, because life mastery is basically the precursor, or actually the byproduct of the state of your womb, right? So you want to look at in your life things that you would like to see manifest, right? What are you bringing forth? I have a few clients that have been reaching out to me lately and speaking to me about needing to understand how to be more confident and how to figure out what their purpose is and live in alignment with their purpose. Um, and I think that the best tip that I can give that relates to where we're at with the new moon is to just create, right? Since it's a time of new beginnings and a time to bring things forth and a time to focus on um, new things that you would like to see growing in your life, you know, what projects do you want to start? This is a great time for you to just create in whatever area you are led or called or have um, a talent or gift or desire or passion to create in. You know, I happen to be a musician, so this is a great time for me, for example, to grab my guitar and start, you know, playing around with some new song ideas or new melodies or a new scale that I haven't worked on, for example. Or maybe I want to sing and just start, you know, playing around with writing some new lyrics or go out and perform. If it wasn't the time COVID, I would be out performing at, you know, an open mic, or maybe I would put out a show or something like that, or plan a new show since it's the time of the new moon, instead of putting out or hosting a show per se. This would be a good time to identify my next musical performance. So what area, I'm asking you for your womb health to tap into your creative energy? What does that look like for you? You know, maybe you are a gardener, you know, maybe you are a painter, maybe you do a podcast, but whatever it is, maybe you've not done anything and you don't know what your creative side looks like. So this is a good time for you to play and get in your room or wherever you have space and time for yourself and give yourself the opportunity to just create. Maybe you just draw. You know, some of my clients and followers are the most amazing artists, and I have made this connection as of late because I'll see that they'll be drawing certain things after we've had some workshops and meetings. I'll see they're drawing things and doodling and sharing them on Instagram. And I'm like, I didn't know you knew how to draw that well. You could have drawn a logo for me, or but they're really good. And I'm like, why have I never seen you do that? And they're like, oh, I never talk about it. I never share it. That's an example of talents and gifts that you may have that you may not be giving attention to. And I'm mentioning this because, again, the new moon is a time to bring things forth. It's a time of channeling that energy, our energy, into things that we would like to see a new beginning in, whether it be a totally new activity or thing, or something that maybe we have have access to or could have been doing or talent or interest in that we have not given interest or attention to. So I just find it really not even ironic. It's like that is exactly what I'm talking about. These beautiful goddesses who come to me with for these consultations and coaching, and they had these hidden talents. And then they tell me later, "Oh my God, my life has changed. I feel so balanced. You know, me and my husband are interacting a lot better." And I'm like, "Well, you notice that you've been drawing and you've been redecorating your house and doing all this amazing things that you said you had interest in, but you'd never done up until recently." I'm like, there's a connection there. So I'm encouraging you to create. Okay, don't contemplate and don't compare yourself to others. Don't sit up and be worried, because I know we're in times where it's supposed to be uncertain and a lot of craziness is happening. Don't worry about that. To take care of yourself, one of the best things you can be doing is to create right now in whatever medium or um, area that interests you the most. Make some things. And why I want to say that, I'm going to tell you why that matters after I sip my tea. That is so good. Y'all got to get my fibroid tea. Ooh, that's good. You creating matters because fibroids are fed off of a lot of different things, right? Depending on who we talk to. If I lined 5 goddesses up in this room that have fibroids, and we started to go down the line, and I asked them questions to personalize about their diet, about where they go to work and their work experience, their relationships or lack thereof, their upbringing, what they do for recreational activity, whether that be something constructive or something non-constructive or low vibrational, whether it be too much alcohol or too much smoking, or worse, heavy drugs, too much sugar, whatever. There's a lot of different categories that we can talk about when we talk about what feeds fibroids. We already know things like GMO. We already know non-organic, hormone-filled beef, chicken, dairy, all that feeds fibroids. But another thing that feeds fibroids is just energy, right? And yeah, negative energy. So people that have anger issues and they have fibroids, there's probably a connection there. If somebody is in a situation where they're being abused and they have fibroids, there's probably a connection there. But I want to just put the emphasis on the word energy from the perspective of, as a creator, and with women, with women who have wombs, carriers of the womb, right? Members of the human race that have wombs, if there are fibroids in there, energy is feeding the fibroid. Okay, just energy, the topic of energy. The fibroid is feeding off of energy in addition to all those other things. Doesn't have to be negative or positive. It's just feeding off of energy. And some of that energy is the stagnant energy that is not being channeled into the areas of interest for whatever person is having the issues with fibroids. So, a simple hack for getting rid of fibroids and for reversing what's happening with fibroids for some of the goddesses that are suffering with them is, if you know that you have an area in your life where you've always been interested in participating and showing up as a creator, and you have not done that, you haven't given it enough attention. If you start giving attention to that, you start to shift that energy and take that food source energetically away from the fibroid and channel it into the action and activity that you were sent here to create and contribute to the larger society in. In doing that, you are also tipping the scales even further because you're activating divine and universal law to work in your favor. Does that make sense? You know, because there are laws, universal laws that govern the entire universe that we're in at any given time, whether we think about it or not. If we jumped off of a building, the law of gravity is going to kick in. Now, there's another law where if you put energy out, that energy will be returned to you, right? That's a simple way that you can look at whatever it is that you're supposed to be giving in the form of creative expression, because we're all whole human beings where we have a side of us that shows up every day at work and whatever type of a career we have, and we pay the bills, we get the money, we do what we need to do to take care of ourselves and our families. But we all also have these wonderful hidden talents. Maybe they're not so hidden for some, but for others, there will be people that, you know, you may walk into that run the bank, but the person is also a comedian, or the person is also a great person that does matchmaking and can pair people up really well to do great business together. Those are hidden talents. That's that particular person's creative life force energy. So I'm asking you to go within and look into what your creative energy is, what your true first immediate, the first thing I say to you when I say creative, the first thing that comes to mind that you are interested in from a creative perspective, and go there and just make it happen. Give action, move in that direction, create. If you do nothing else during this time, because you don't really need to do much, all you really need to do is be giving that energy a place to funnel rather than letting it sit stagnant. Because by not creating, not singing, not painting, not making people laugh, you know, not speaking to people or whatever your creative desire, your passion is, that energy is sitting there and building and getting more and more layers of energy. And in there, in that buildup, forms a energetic artery that feeds into the womb of the goddess who is not fulfilling part of her life's purpose, and it feeds a physical fibroid, or more than one. So part of your journey right now should be focusing on creative expression and whatever medium or field you desire, that you have in your heart, that you're passionate about. Express in that area, and it will help you. It will start to add a pillar of stability on your road to natural fibroid freedom. If you have any questions about that, let me know. But the reason why you want to do that even more so right now is because there is also a deeper level of success that is an unspoken rule by patterning our lives and our lifestyles after Mother Nature and after what is going on in the universe. Okay, so right now, why I mention the new moon, why I mention the fall equinox, and why I'm mentioning that you go within and reflect, because what is Mother Nature doing right now? We have wombs as women, as divine women. If you have fibroids, you have a womb, right? If you are here for and on behalf of a goddess who has fibroids and you don't have a womb, maybe you know someone that does and you can tell them this information. But we are deeply connected to nature and the earth. That is obvious, that is apparent. Our cycles show that we are even more deeply connected to the patterns of the moon, the phases of the moon. So, anything that's going on in this realm definitely concerns us. Whether we want to give attention to nature or not, we are nature. And it shows when we are out of alignment and not giving attention to nature. If we eat constantly nothing but artificial foods, your health problems are going to be through the roof. They're going to be crazy, right? So the more we know, if we want to nip illness and reverse sickness, you know that you need to draw closer to nature. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I'll say it 1,000 times. Nature, 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 nature. Now, I'm saying that because things are, and I've been saying this all 2020, all year, this is a year of great change. We're moving through a lot of different shifts, different levels to the shift, right? There's levels to this shift, right? So we're a couple of points of proof that we are moving through a lot of different shifts are all of the craziness that has developed in the atmosphere as far as the weather. Look at the fires that are happening in California right now. Now, who would have predicted and thought that is going to happen? What else? Australia burned up. That's another fire. Look at all of these. I'm on the East Coast. They're talking about all these hurricanes that are hitting right now. Those are a few examples of natural or shifts in nature that have been happening. But then other shifts have been all of the things with the virus, which I don't like mentioning the name, but you already know what I'm talking about. The COVID virus and all that kind of thing. And who would have thought before March hit that was what we were going to be facing for the majority of 2020? And they're saying there may be another surge in that going into the colder months. So I'm not mentioning that to give any of that attention from that perspective. I'm mentioning that because I want to highlight the shifts that have been happening, and that your job, our job as divine women, as women that are taking charge of our health, taking control of our womb energy, and going to succeed at manifesting natural fibroid freedom, we have to notice what's going on in nature. And we have to learn from what we see when we make our pattern of our lifestyle that we are trying to align with nature, because the goal is to get in alignment with nature in all aspects. The more you're able to do that, the more closely you can align with nature for whatever that looks like with you, because we're all different. Some of us are already more naturally inclined as far as the way we run our lives than others. So some of us don't have to make a bigger jump to become more naturally aligned. But then there are others who do, so you want to do that, because when everything around you is changing and everything around you seems unstable and everything around you seems like it is a wild card energy, which is how I've been describing 2020 all year. It's the wild card year. It's like the Joker energy. I don't even watch those movies, but I know the Joker, okay? I did watch them when I was younger, before I knew anything about what a fibroid was. So I know what the Joker energy is. And it's like unpredictable, right? We don't know what's going to come around the corner. When it's like that, the best thing you can do is cling to things that you know are tried and true, cling to things that you know are constant, and cling to the most true, real things that you have access to. What is that? Nature, Mother Nature, the earth, things of the earth, right? So in order to safeguard yourself going into this change in seasons, safeguard your life, and put that guard up over your womb, right? You want to pattern your lifestyle closer to, in alignment with nature, whatever that means to you. When things are shifting, things are changing, and you're like, oh my God, if you stay glued to the news, to the media, you're going to be like, they change it, on a dime every day. They'll have some narrative, and then that will be changed when they want to shift the agenda, right? You could be a big fan of a commentator on the news or a politician or something like that, and then look up, if money gets involved or something like that, they'll switch it up on you, and then their whole party will be like the people that were following them will be taken aback, and then some people will be followers and still follow the person, which is what they're banking on. But then those of us that are more in alignment with nature and more awake and attuned will realize this is an illusion and this is also a hustle. And is this really in my best interest? You know, who am I allowing to guide and lead me? And that should always be you first and foremost. So this is a time where patterning your lifestyle in accordance with the earth, with Mother Nature, is really probably the most protective weapon that you can have in these times. Because a lot of us are talking, you're hearing a lot of talk about everybody buying weapons and all these things like that. Whatever. I'm telling you, your greatest thing that you can do, your greatest shield, because winter is coming. Okay, that is one show I did watch, and I wish it was still on. Winter's coming. Winter is coming. Okay, they've been saying that on the news about COVID, right? They've been saying winter is coming. So they're observe what is being said. It's like they're kind of mixing the fantasy into the reality, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use it here in this video because it is coming. So you need to make sure you're doing everything that you can so that if the bottom drops out around you, you are constant and you are stagnant. Or you are not stagnant. You are constant and you are safe, right? Throughout whatever you see, you are not being shifted. Your ground under you, under your house, is stable. There, stable is the word I wanted to say, not stagnant. So, a couple of examples, because I was thinking about how can one pattern their lifestyle after Mother Earth, Mama Gaia, and nature. Some things are simple. You may already be doing some of these things. You can set up an area in your house, in your apartment, on your balcony, in your backyard, whatever, your basement, for sacred space and for you to commune with things that are natural, right? You can have one of those areas outside. If you have a yard, you can do that in your yard as well. You can have some winter growing plants, or maybe no plants at all. Maybe you have an area where you light a bonfire, a safe bonfire, but you do that during the winter because you are engaging and communing with the elements in the earth. And when you do that and just get quiet and relax, it allows you to further pattern yourself after nature because you are participating in the act, in the art of reflection, which is a divine way, very simple, divine, ancient tradition of meditation where you're being, where you are participating seemingly in nothingness, but you are reflecting. Now, reflecting is a powerful tool that you will be doing when you're patterning your life to nature because it is really what nature is doing during the colder months. Okay, so why I'm saying that because there's less leaves on the trees. You know, they are less blooms on flowers. Now, there are some, I think it's perennials that are year round blooms, but for the most part, trees are bare, the branches are more visible because there's a going within process. It's a slowing down. We are doing less projecting, right? And we are reflecting. So we're going within. And if we're doing anything where we are projecting, and like I mentioned earlier, the example of being a musician, rather than putting on shows, I'm going to plan what my shows will be during the time that things are happening more lively, and it's a time in nature is actually more on the outside, more visible, more lively, more bubbly, you know. I'm kind of going underground and I'm planting, you know, I'm kind of cultivating the earth and popping my seeds in. These are the types of examples that will kind of let you know what you could be doing right now to pattern your life after nature. Because I know we're all different, our lives are very different. You could set up that sacred space. You could do a lot more heavy meditation, experiment with some different types of meditation and deep breathing, and go within. If you're going to do any type of reflection, go within and just reflect on whatever it is. Maybe you want to reflect on what we talked about earlier, creative expression, and think about areas in your life or areas that are real to you that you would like to funnel your creative energy into. Because the more you're doing all of these things, you are taking control of your womb energy and your womb power. And you're doing that, when you're doing that, rather, you are communicating from your mind to your womb that it is a new day, that there is a new sheriff in town or a new goddess in town, and no longer are you going to be just idly floating by, floating through the seasons and not taking part in the celebrations of the changes that are happening seasonally, as well as with the phases of the moon. And the more that you open up to nature, the more that you show energetically um, that you are connecting with nature and with the creator in this way, the more you will get downloads and messages that will just intuitively come to you. You know, the next brick will be revealed as you open up more and go inward. So that is a little bit of what I wanted to talk about today. It's pretty simple. It's really just a time to harness these powers of this moon phase that we're in during the new moon, to really do the work right now and see the activity and the outcome that you want to see, um, by creating and reflecting and pausing. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. If y'all have any questions, let me know. Is anybody else having tea with me? Because, you know, I don't know who y'all follow and watch, but there's a lot of talk leading up to the end of this year about a lot more shifting that's going to be happening with the earth. I don't know if you know. If you watch this channel, you should know, because I've mentioned it earlier this year, right when all of the corona stuff started happening. But the earth is shifting dimensions. It's moving up to the 5th dimension energetically. So that's why a lot of this stuff, a lot of the things that we're seeing on the news, in the media, and also in our everyday life with this crazy energy and the crazy things that are happening with just strangers around the world. I don't know what you've seen, but I've seen quite a bit of things lately just on Instagram. They're going to continue, and they may even accelerate. But the best thing that you can do is to make sure your life and things that are concerning you are constant. And the only way that I know how to do that in this realm that we're in is to safeguard and insulate your world with natural elements, with natural foods, with beautiful natural herbs. Like I'm drinking my tea. That's a great way to get more natural elements into your life. You can just take it in the form of daily tea, daily herbs. But the more you do that, the more you are basically insulating your house, your energetic house, your temple, your physical house, as well as aura, your non-physical body. You're putting a protective covering around you, because your vibration is raising. Because every aspect of you has natural elements that you have incorporated into your entire life and everything concerning you. So that's the best thing that you can do right now. If you're just coming on the video, watch it, because it's very powerful. Like I said, we're moving into different energies on the earth up until 2021. You're going to see a lot more shifting, especially, during the fall season and winter. Eat your plants, juice your vegetables, get your herbal teas, and do the self work so that you can make sure there's nothing holding you back from ascending to where we need to get, so that when this shift happens fully, you make it and you are just kind of like easily transitioned into the next level. It's not a rough transition. And, you know, take care of your loved ones. You know, if they don't know this information, tell them. If you are the provider or the person in your household that makes the meals, a lot of time, make meals with more vegetables, more plants, more fruits for your family. That's another way that you can pattern your lifestyle to Mother Earth, because Mother Earth takes care of us, right? Mother Earth looks after us even when we don't know. God looks after us even when we don't know. Do that for your family members and your loved ones, those that you know may not know this information. Share this video, because it's really simple. It's like there's a war for our attention, our ears, with listening to music that may not be the best for us. as well as through our eyes, through whatever we're watching on the media, on the television, to keep us confused and in fear and that kind of thing. And you don't have to live like that, and you shouldn't be living like that. Always know that you are your greatest compass and that you always have the answer internally. And the first place that you should be looking for your answer before you look for it outside from any source is inward. And you always know right now, with these times that we're in, with people's energy and things shifting, people are shifting. So there's a lot of people that are not going to be able to weather this storm and they may be unstable. But just know that you can always know if people are being legit and being real with you. You can sense that. So move throughout this next season, this next quarter of the year. There's a lot of things changing. They're saying a lot of things that are going to be changing with the financial systems of the world as we move into this next season. Before you react, there's the word I want. You want to react, you want to respond, not react, right? So into it, before you make decisions, really see who is talking to you and what is being said with your energy before you agree to anything, because you already know the answer. And the more, if you feel like you don't know what that means, you can get better at that by using your spiritual compass and thermometer to read people and situations, by eating more plants, by drinking more herbal teas, by juicing vegetables, by spending more time in nature, things that we've already talked about on this live. This is a time where you can see miraculous accelerated manifestation of fibroid elimination, of manifesting money, love, whatever it is that you want. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Oh, that's right, Keisha H. Thank you for the comment. I love that. Ashe indeed. You can manifest. It's the veils are thinning and disappearing, which is why we're seeing all of this energy, these seemingly chaos, craziness, but I don't like to describe it like that because I have knowledge of self, right? I know who I am. I know whose I am. I know where I come from, you know? And I know that you know that too. You already know what you need to know. And if you don't think you know that, give yourself some time. Ask the question, put it out there, and then get quiet. Trust that it will be revealed to you. Eat plants, drink teas, But you are the end all, be all, first, last that you go to right now in these times. Because it's so crazy if you're just watching the news and that kind of thing. I saw an article that I'm going to talk about in another live or another video, maybe. Maybe I'll go live. I'm not really sure. About these mass hysterectomies that were being done at this ICE facility. This is not a time where we can just blindly float by and trust what our people who are being presented to us as figureheads or leaders are saying. You need to be your own leader. Yes. I'll do the video, Keisha. Okay, I gotta go and really formulate, because it's YouTube and it's public, so I'm like, sometimes when I say certain things I get messages like, if you keep talking about this and that. So I will bring the video back and I'll go through it, but I may have to do a 2-part, but we'll see. Yeah, mass hysterectomies. And I'll tell you, I get so many messages from goddesses who are being told that they have to have hysterectomies. I mean, I teach about shrinking fibroids. I coach on shrinking fibroids, and that goes hand in hand with the discussion, so I get it. But I tell you, so many people are being told they have to have a hysterectomy. I really need people to be their first doctor, okay? Be your first advocate for yourself before you just go with somebody's advice as it relates to a really big decision with your body like that. Get 5 more opinions if that's the case. If it's life threatening, that kind of thing, maybe think about it then. But I'm telling you, You have a womb because you are a creatress. You are a creator. You are a fractal of the great big black womb of space. Okay, you have one of those. And basically, we have this body, but then there are other bodies. We have an etheric body. So the etheric body is one of the other bodies that makes up our, I think it's 7 bodies that we have, right? It's called an etheric body because it connects you to the ethers and it's activated by your throat chakra. How about that? So when you start to put all those things together, what you need to do, know that you have an etheric body that is connected to the ethers through your exercise in your throat chakra. So you command what happens to your womb and what you see in your womb universe by commanding the ethers using your throat chakra. How about that? So I'm just throwing that out there because maybe these are there's some work in these areas that haven't had enough attention. These goddesses have not been shown this type of work enough. So I will talk more about that. But that's kind of what I wanted to say to y'all as we move into these next few months. Get ready because there's a lot of energetic shifts that are happening because we're moving into the 5D. And in the 5D, only truth can exist. So you're going to already have what you need to know who's being straight up and who's trying to hustle you and who you can't really trust and who is not being genuine with the information they're giving you. All that is already going to come, and you probably already know that. And if you don't, you feel like you don't feel stable, eat some plants, drink some tea, go hug a tree, do some meditation, light a candle, have some of your earthy incense or Palo Santo or something, and just have some elements of nature in your home and ask what you need to ask and wait for that answer to be given to you. It will come to you. It may not come in that instance. It may come the next day. But just do this work regularly. Give it attention. And it will help cut off the energy supply that's been feeding fibroids because the energy has been going out of control and going off, getting siphoned off into a negative area because you're taking control of that energy now. So that's what I wanted to tell y'all today. I want to thank Mama Kasia, Goddess, for joining and speaking with me today. You are welcome. You are part of the family, and everybody that was on here is a part of this family for Operation Fibroid Freedom. If you were feeling this video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel. And I give thanks for you, Goddess, and I hope to see you soon on the next video. Matter of fact, I hope I can find you and link you when I post the video. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow's Friday. I got a meeting in the morning. Maybe we'll come back and talk about it tomorrow evening, if you're around. Kasia, you gonna be around tomorrow evening? So yeah, join me next time. I'm sending you peace. I'm sending you love. Bet, sis. And fibroid release. If you have not subscribed, do that. And I just put up a little workout video too. It's a high intensity interval training workout video. Try that one out. Exercising is a major part of cutting off those food supply to those fibroids and getting the fibroids to realize that they got to go. They can't stay. This womb is not a healthy place for them to be because the womb is healthy. Do some of that. And then I have some cool recipe videos that I'm editing that I'll be posting soon. But I love you. And I want to thank you again. And I'll talk to you soon, family. Peace.